This is the photo that was used to solicit us as Indian children that need good, loving homes. This is you? This is me.
Helpless children torn from their families, removed from their native reserves, disconnected from their culture. This was the 60s Scoop. This was the reality for more than 20,000 Indigenous children. Colleen Cardinal is a survivor.
Growing up in a non-Indigenous home, I didn't even know I was Indigenous. There was nobody told me. There was no context. I just was brown. I got browner in the summertime, and nobody said anything about my skin color. I just thought that's the way it was. I never questioned it. And it wasn't until I was in my teenage years where actually my adoptive mother told me that I was adopted and that I was Indigenous.
These new homes were meant to be a refuge. For many, they were more of a nightmare.
We experienced a lot of physical and sexual abuse by our adoptive father, who was later charged for it. We all ended up leaving home, running away from home to flee sexual violence.
Kim Matheson studies how trauma like Colleen's affects future generations.
Socially, there are aspects of this as well, especially in relation to the collective trauma that's represented by something like the Indian residential schools. So you had a whole breakdown of communities. You had kids who were never taught what it really meant to have a parent and what parenting behaviors look like. And so when they become parents, they're not very good parents for their own offspring, and so the offspring have grown up in an environment of poor parenting.
I didn't know I had PTSD, so I used to yell at my kids a lot. And I knew I yelled, but I thought that's how you parented, because I grew up in a home where you yelled. I knew hitting was wrong, but I didn't give them hugs and tenderness. I didn't know how to do that. I still don't know how to do that. I have a hard time with it, right?
Affection doesn't come easy for Colleen and her son, Sage. Sharing the art at the Wabano Center for Aboriginal Health brings them together. He is starting to understand his mother's struggle.
Growing up with a mother and expecting love is a given for children, right? Children are innocent. And, it was very strange. I guess that's all I can say is it was to have a mother not be able to love you and not understand why she didn't was very hard for children.
He not only lost out on affection, but a way of life.
I do have a bit of a cultural loss. At the same time, I do understand that it's still there for me, right? It's a means of finding it again. But I have no idea what my culture is or the language or where it comes from, but I'd definitely like to find it.
So we just light it, and then it burns.
Colleen practices smudging every day.
So we smudge to think good thoughts, to see good things, to speak good things, to hear good things, and to feel good things. I grew up not knowing my culture and having to navigate those spaces of finding where I can relearn my culture.
The Wabano Center for Aboriginal Health is one of those spaces, a place of healing and cultural reclamation. From the healing circle to the drumming circle.
There are whole communities that have never had a healing circle, which for us, even in the South, we understand the concept, but it's just not past it. The generations that ought to have learned how to do it didn't learn how to do it.
The Wabano Center is helping survivors reclaim the culture they lost in the 60s Scoop. By reconnecting with this culture, they are breaking the cycle of trauma.
I have a daughter now, and at the same time, I don't want the things that had happened to me or to my parents become another thing that happened. Right? I'm the break in the ripple, and I'm starting something new. I think that's where the understanding comes from. Is there's a lot of hurt, and I want to stop that.
For the 25th hour, I'm Kirsten Fenn.